Hello and welcome to our final presentation on Silly Socks. This game has been designed by Mazen Ahmed, Ahmed Bilal and Islam Talha. First, let's show off our gameplay using this small demo. When we started this project, we had to identify the problem. During the COVID-19 pandemic, psychological and social impact on people is great, namely boredom, social distancing, loneliness, and anxiety. This was our key to identify the problem that enabled us to actually start designing the game effectively. We started asking ourselves, what would people do to fight boredom in normal situations? People actually would engage in interesting and meaningful habits or activities that enable them to enter their own magic circle. They give them freedom and self-control, interaction, satisfaction, and sense of achievement. The solution was simple. We would design a design philosophy trying to incorporate all these elements through entertainment as gameplay, social aspect as network, and psychological aspects using game aesthetics and game goals. And we came up with Silly Socks. Silly Socks is an online casual mobile racing game that helps people to get in touch together and share playful moments during times of social distancing. The game is targeted for elders, and it has two modes, single player and multiplayer modes. Our design philosophy was further improved by putting game design goals. For the entertainment aspect, it had to be simple to play as a time passer. The game can be played in an analog fashion, meaning that it can be played in a digital form and people can actually derive from it ideas to make their daily habits and daily activities in an analog fashion. It had to have a competitive mode to make it more entertaining. From the psychological aspect, the game idea should be relatable to all players. We took the example as picking the laundry and making it as the relatable kind of activity that everyone will encounter during the lockdown. It had to be immersive in both audio and visual aesthetics, cheerful and giving the sense that it is actually elevating in terms of psychology. The social aspect was focused on being a mobile game. That means it can be reach out with all people of different ages, since everyone has mobile phones, and it had the competitive element within the multiplayer mode. We started prototyping to actually discover the kind of gameplay and the kind of mechanics we need in this game. We broke down the prototype into three sections, namely focusing on a cognitive skill that would actually make the core mechanic and that would actually make the game more fun. So we started with a memory version game where people would go and pick pieces of paper that illustrated as socks. One side would be blackened and the other would have the pattern that would actually reflect the kind of socks you are trying to choose. and people would try to guess which two pairs actually go together. This game was fun, but it was very short-lived, and it wasn't going to cut it in a digital form. So we tried other forms of prototyping, analog prototyping, like puzzle versions, trying to make the game more like Tetris, where people try to put two pieces together as pairs of socks together to form a cube or a rectangle. It wasn't very efficient, and it was very hard to simulate in analog terms, and actually the orientation or the L shape of the socks didn't allow us to make more variation. Another one was a cooperative version, where two players will actually engage in a puzzle game. One was blindfolded and the other was trying to guide the other player to choose the two correctly pairs. The game was fun and it was good, but in terms of digital form, one player would be passively just guiding the other, and the other was actually having all the fun, and it wasn't very meaningful. So we derived from this three distinct mechanics that actually went forth in the final game. The first mechanic is based on recognition as a cognitive skill in picking the game, as illustrated in the GIF. And the second mechanic is speed, where players actually choose the correct pair of socks and match them as fast as possible, since they are playing against time. And lastly, they would try to match the folded socks in the right chamber within the drawer. And of course, as a difficulty, as the game progresses, more drawers are added to add more difficulty, so players had to remember which drawer had the right chamber for the right folded socks. So we ended up with a threefold gameplay action: pick, match, store, which is a very rhythmic way to illustrate the kind of action we do in our daily life when we pick laundry and actually fold them and store them. The game is entirely played by dragging. The folding happens automatically to make it easy for elders people to limit interaction and make it easy. Other mechanics include random socks generation on the cloth line, and addition of two kinds of special socks: dirty socks, which doesn't count as a score, and a rainbow socks, which can go with any other form of socks as a bonus. Of course, we have the counter, and the counter is divided into three sections. This avoids cluttering and makes it very distinct for players and organized for people to actually avoid cluttering of socks and the drop of frame rate during gameplay. Storing socks also within the complementary drawer adds more depth to the game and make it more difficult to remember which drawer actually had the same pattern with the folded socks. And time as a pushing factor to make people play and avoid sulking or wasting time, especially in the multiplayer mode. From our previous presentation, the intermediate one, we had a lot of feedback, which was very overwhelming and very positive. Yet people had a lot of ideas to add, and we are looking forward to add them in the future. Some of these features and some of these improvements are adding more game difficulties, and by adding more levels, more socks variations, and more drawers to add more difficulty. Adding more designs, since we have a very limited amount of socks right now, we are willing to add more variation and avoid repeatedness. Also, we are willing to add more collectibles and unlockables, since the game is lacking any kind of meaningful resources. So I will go for adding more resources that player can obtain from each level that allow them to unlock new settings, new socks, and new kind of designs that they can brag with others due to their achievement. And now we are going to discuss more about the art and the impact of art on the game with Ahmed Az.
In the beginning, we collected some references and some pictures from real life, from patterns, socks, and textiles, textures, different hues, different color, different shapes, because we just like to be inspired from these shapes. Then we put our constraint for ourselves like, okay, we have the balcony, and the place is gonna be the balcony, and the time gonna be like not that super sunny time, but just like in the middle, lighting, atmosphere. And also we need a lot of elements and props that reflect this kind of, okay, there is a story behind this balcony. It's the typical, the normal balcony in any place, which is familiar, and everybody can interact with. Everybody can feel it's okay. This is my own balcony. I don't feel I'm a foreigner, or I'm a stranger in this balcony. Then we started the technical process, then from modeling, and with some constraint in the low poly model, because we were working on mobile device, and the implementation, the material implementation for the first the blocking, the how we gonna draw this in right proportion, in right scale. Then, and that took a little bit time in the beginning. Then we create some patterns, which is simple, readable, easy to understand, easy to catch it, because like our target audience is over 50, so it's better to give them simple shapes and clear forms. Then we pick up, then we export everything to Unity and put it together, added the shaders, the materials, add the light, add the material, and so on. Then we add a little bit post processing, and we do it in really simple way, which is there is no kind of a lot of technology there. We didn't use a lot of calculation, but we use like different layer in different distance, with alpha that makes the mood, and there is some texture in the screen, there is the gradient in the background, and it's easy to do it, and easy to optimize it as well. Then we go with the UI. Then we have the UI, which is have like pixel art style, and after we took a feedback from different colleagues in our class, and found it is not that fit with the background, then we decided to change that and make a simple UI, and make a simple UI which is easy to understand and simple and readable, usable, and everything is easy with that UI. And we draw that flowchart that we didn't implement the whole UI right now, but we just show that's gonna be the our goal later on. We have a one single player mode and multiplayer mode. We have the shop, we have game over, we have levels, and so on. That's the whole chart for the UI. Regarding the character, we decided to go for something we found it easy to implement and fast as well, and don't give us a variety to make different characters, but with and in small time, in short time. And this was like Apple message, so using the facial expression, and we recorded some characters, and we implemented. The player gonna show it as a success screen, winner screen, or lose screen. Like these characters, maybe they're gonna cry, or they gonna say, okay, oh, are you amazing, perfect, good job, something like that, positive, and that's gonna show it as a cut screen, as a cut scene after the gameplay. Regarding also the yeah, that was the art part. I hope you like the art style. I hope you like the colors. If you have any feedback, please tell us, it would be nice. Thank you.
Technical details about socks. We kept in mind nowadays social distancing is important, so we chose to make an online multiplayer game. And according to broadband search, there is a big growth in the online gaming industry, as you see in the slide. And for more details, please visit the link in the slide. We are targeting platforms like tablets, mobiles, and smart TVs, and we will try and release on Android first. There's just some tools we use to develop our games, like Bitbucket for source control, and Unity for development, and C# and GameSparks for back-end development. So what is GameSparks? GameSparks is a cloud service which offers most everything you might need for your game. When it comes to back-end solutions, among its many features are user authentication and customizable matchmaking, turn-based and real-time multiplayer, server-side authority code, player data and storage, leaderboard and achievements, and economics and analytics. For more details, please visit gamesparks.com. You will see a sample demo describing the game flow. First, the user authenticate, then the matchmaking, and finally the game scene. The game supports up to 4 players. The players will compete with each other, and the winner will get the highest score based on how many socks the player collected. Finally, after we developed with GameSparks, I don't recommend using GameSparks because the development in GameSparks itself mostly stopped, and the price is too high for the usage, and the documentation can be improved. And there is a lot of tools out there you can use instead of GameSparks. So this is the progress till now. So if you have any questions, please, we will be glad to answer them. Thank you.